holy crap, that was quite the info dump for this game, and now it has now become my most anticipated game of the year. Street Fighter 6. If you missed it, I was going to stream it, but I was a little worried that it might get copyright claimed or something because of the music, especially the way it started, the pre-part of it. I wrote some notes down here, stuff that stood out to me, and then we'll just go over it, and I'm like super hyped now. Everything they showed in this game is what I've wanted wrestling games to do for years. We almost got it with WrestleMania 19 back on the GameCube, but then they never did it again. And I'm talking about like free roaming, going around, fighting outside of the ring, out in the world, kind of like an RPG, like I don't know, a free roaming game, like what do you call that? Well, yeah, free roaming. I guess that's what it's called. Anyway, so World Tour mode. This is a lot more involved than I thought it was going to be. It has multiple locations. It has different cities. It has full like interaction with other NPCs, characters. It's seamless where you just walk up to somebody and it just activates a battle, like right there, right where you're standing. I think Naruto, one of the Naruto games on the 360, one of the early Naruto games, I was wondering why Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat never did that, where you have this awesome free roaming world that you go in. I think Mortal Kombat did try that in one game. I forget which one it was. Anyway, and then as soon as you run into somebody, it activates the fight mode, right? Kind of like an RPG where it's like activates the and then you go into the turn-based battles. But in this, obviously, it's actually real-time 2D fighting, and it's freaking awesome. So I was really surprised at how seamless it was, how good it looked, how good your character looked. There was one thing I noticed: your character doesn't talk, which, I mean, I guess I could live with that considering all the other stuff they do, but I just think it's funny that a lot of these JRPGs, because they're going for the RPG route, but it's like Street Fighter RPG. My mind is like melting right now because this is what I've always wanted in a Street Fighter game. It's so cool. It has like RPG elements where you can level up, you increase your stats, you can learn new moves. It looks like, it didn't say directly, but I hope I'm not mistaken with this. It looks like you can set your moves kind of like in the wrestling game. So you know how in the wrestling game you have like your finisher, your signature, and all that stuff. I thought it was just going to be you have this fighting style and that's it, right? Because it'd be too hard to program to move it around. But it looked like you can pick what you want. With I'm sure there's going to be limitations to that because it's a 2D game. It's not a 3D open game, kind of like a wrestling game, where the way it's set up is you can change all your moves out. I don't know if it'll be that involved, but it looked like you can change your moves, which blew my mind. I'm like, how are they going to get that to work in a 2D fighting game? If they can get that to work in a 2D fighting game, just imagine the crazy combos you could try to come up with and how easily you could break the game trying to do all that. So I thought that was really cool. It looks like the game's going to have clothing shops in each city or each area of the it has multiple areas, and you're going to be able to buy clothes, kind of like in the Saints Row games, where each little city has their own little clothing shop and it changes periodically. That's awesome to me. It's going to have missions, so like an RPG, you can go like, oh, I need this, or go fight this guy, or get so many knockouts in this time limit, or something like whatever. It's going to have missions. It's going to have it's like an RPG. It blows my mind that they're doing this. This is so cool. And then it has this really cool traversal thing, kind of like in a Metroidvania game, and they're called Master Actions. And if you see it, it shows them spinning upside down to get to another platform. What I mean by Metroid is you're unlocking these moves to get to higher places, to traverse the world, to get to hidden items. That is so cool. I can't believe they're combining all this stuff in a fighting game, in a Street Fighter game of all things. In some instances in World Tour, this is all in World Tour by the way, which is the mode I'm most hyped for, it showed them fighting two opponents at once. So I'm curious if they're going to have, they didn't show it in this trailer or this huge info dump, but maybe you can have two people on both sides at the same time. I mean, I think the hardware is powerful enough, kind of like a Smash Brothers, right? How cool would that be where everybody's on the screen at once? I mean, that'd be kind of chaotic because it's such a tight 2D space. But maybe they're just doing it for story mode. The people with the boxes on their head, that was hilarious too. I'm like, what is going on over there? Anyway, making sure it was recording. Yeah, fight multiple enemies. Present. It has like a present system. By present, I mean you can give items and presents to the main fighters like a Chun-Li or a Guile, Blanka, whatever, and they befriend you, and then it looks like you can call upon them for help in the World Tour, because it showed Chun-Li jumping in and helping them out and fighting off two different opponents at the same time. Either that, or it's like an assist, like in the old Marvel vs. Capcom games where you had a guy on reserve and you press the assist button, they fly in, beat them, do a little action, and then jump out. Maybe it's something like that, but it'd be really cool if they just came in and like mopped the floor with them, like, hey, yeah. Let's see, another thing. I wrote fully customizable moveset, like question mark. That's what it looked like. Call for help. I was blown away that it's not just going to be like this tiny little story mode. It's actually going to be multiple locations. It looks like the whole globe, and they could add on to this later on when they add new fighters. That's what they alluded to at the end. I'm kind of annoyed that Akuma is DLC, and he's the farthest one out, way into next year. It's like, because he's one of my favorite characters, like pretty much everybody. Blanka's my favorite character, though. I'm very happy Blanka made it on day one, because I was so mad when he wasn't in Street Fighter V. I didn't even buy Street Fighter V. And when they finally added him, I bought, what was it? It was like the arcade edition, and I bought it. He was on the cover, and it said, oh, he's not out yet. Pay more money to get him. I'm like, but he's on the cover of the thing. It was just advertising that they're coming to the game, and he wasn't included. I was so mad about that. The way the Street Fighter V is structured is so confusing. Like, how do you buy? I just want to buy everything. If you go into the store, it has like 50 different like DLC, well, actually more like hundreds of different DLCs, and like 10 different versions of the game. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? So, one of the best versions of it includes everything except for the last season pass and a bunch of costumes. And it included Blanka. It was on PS Plus, so I finally played the game, and it's pretty fun. I messed around with it, played for about 3 hours. But since Street Fighter 6 is almost here, I was like, I'm just gonna wait for that. I might mess around on that, try to get my juices flowing again with the Street Fighter. It's been so long since I've played it. The last one I played was 4, but back on the 360. I didn't play all the rehashes or re-releases of it, so it's been it's been a while. It looks like when you're playing online in the online lobby, it looks like the old games are included. Like it showed Street Fighter 2 Turbo. It showed, I think it was Street Fighter Alpha. It only showed it for a second, and I was like, oh, but I saw them playing Street Fighter 2 online. I'm like, so are the old legacy games going to be included? Is this going to be an all-in-one stop shop for Street Fighter? They shouldn't have called it 6. They should have called it Street Fighter like Infinite or something, because that's what it looks like. It's awesome. And then it looks like it's going to have online guilds. So you and a big group of buddies can form a guild and have kind of like dojos. They should have called it dojos. I forget what they called it in here. It wasn't guild, it was something else. But it's the same structure, right? You get a big group of friends, you're in this group, you can probably go fight another group. But in a way, it's kind of like your dojo, right? Think of, what's that awesome karate show? Karate Kid. The what is it? Cobra? I'm drawing a blank here. I just watched the whole series. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see, what else is here? In arcade mode, I don't know if this is across all modes, but in arcade mode, and the what was it, guild mode or battle mode? Anyway, It has battle damage, like physical damage, not just your health. Physical damage to the character that carries on throughout the modes while you're playing, and that looks really cool because it's like, oh, I've been in a fight and stuff like that. So I like that. I like that idea. I think that's really cool. My biggest gripe, but everything else makes this okay. My biggest gripe is the arcade mode comic stilled pictures story, and then you get one little tiny like illustration for the win, right? I miss the old days, like, what was it? Dead or Alive, where it had this huge, awesome cutscene at the end of each character, so it made you want to play it, right? That's like my only gripe so far with this whole thing. So that's everything I wanted to cover. I mean, I am super hyped for this. I will be covering it on the channel. Comes out June 2nd. Probably going to stream it when it comes out. They have a demo that released as it was finishing. I'm downloading it now. I'm probably going to play it and make some videos on it, showing off the character creator. They're going to be long videos because I love making characters. I'm going to try to make Strizer. Hopefully I can make him somewhat. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm so hyped for this. Stay frosty.